¿Qué lo que mi gente? Yo soy Ricky de Bilingue Blogs. Thank you guys for tuning in to the second video of the Mastering the Past Spanish series here. We're going to be focusing on the uses of the preterite tense today. Let's get right into it. In the most simplest terms possible, the preterite answers the question, what happened? Not what was happening, but what happened. That's what the preterite is to me. But to give you my more lengthy dictionary definition of the word, I will give you this. It is an action that is completed in the past that has happened a specific amount of times at a specific time itself. So the preterite tense is about specificity. So for example, a word like yesterday would let us know that we're going to be using the preterite because it's one very specific time. If you're a visual learner and you need to have a visual to understand the preterite tense, let's look at it this way. If we have a timeline, the preterite will be just one specific dot on the timeline. If you have worked with the preterite before, you may have heard of the acronym SIMBA. I'm not a huge fan of this acronym, but I will share it because it may help someone out. The S in SIMBA will be for a single action. For example, ella comió la pizza. Okay? A lot of teachers in the past say that the preterite is something that happened once in the past. Kind of. It's something that happened at one specific time, but it can happen multiple times as long as it's not recurring over a period of time, then it will still be the preterite. So for example, él me llamó 6 veces seguidos. He called me 6 times in a row. So yes, there is more than one time that he's doing something, but it's not considered recurring over a period of time, so this will still use the preterite. The I in SIMBA will stand for an interruption. So this is when we have an ongoing action, something that was happening, because remember the preterite answers what happened. So we're combining something that was happening in the past with something that happened in the past. So for example, ella estaba cantando, that's what was happening, she was singing, cuando de repente bostezó. That's what happened. It's a completed action in the past, but it interrupted the ongoing action, which was that she was singing. The M in SIMBA stands for main event, and this is why I don't really like SIMBA. I never really understood what a main event was. I felt like it was the same thing as a single action. But to give you an example, ellos asistieron a la boda. That's like a single action to me. I don't get why main event is in there, but if it helps you, then great. B stands for beginning actions. I like to say beginning and ending action because that makes sense. If you're going to use it for a beginning action, you're going to use it for an ending action as well. For example, empezó el partido a las 3 de la tarde. So since it began at that time, that's the beginning action. But for an ending action, it can be el partido terminó a las 5 por la tarde. Right? So there, the game is ending at a certain time. So that's an ending action. Right? And last but not least, we have arrivals and departures. Llegaste a las 5, ¿no? You arrived at 5 o'clock, right? Or departing, partió el barco a las 8 de la mañana. The boat departed at 8 in the morning. Okay? So those are arrivals and departures. Now the reason I don't really love SIMBA is because it doesn't give you the full spectrum of the preterite tense. So there are a few things that I have added onto this list, and one of those is weather. Now yes, majority of the time weather will be used in the imperfect tense, but you can talk about weather in the preterite tense if and only if we have a specific time talking about this. When we're talking about this weather and it's not background information, then we will use it in the preterite. For example, ayer llovió mucho, or el verano pasado no llovió nada. Okay? There we have very specific time frames when the weather occurred, so I can use it in the preterite tense. But remember, if and only if I have my time frame and it's not background information, okay? The next reason we can use the preterite tense is for sequences of events. So if a few things happened in the past and they're one after the other, then I will use the preterite for that. For example, mi hermana corrió por el pasillo, se deslizó sobre el calcetín y se cayó. So we see she did 3 different things. There weren't reoccurring things. There weren't things that kept happening, but they happened once, one after the other. I want to give you guys this little checklist that I came up with. So there are a few questions that we want to ask ourselves. In the beginning, you remember that I told you that the preterite was pretty much going to answer the question, what happened, right? So this checklist will kind of ask you deeper questions just to make sure that you're following the right path. Now, as you practice this more, you speak more, and you write more, read more, you will get used to the preterite, and you won't even need this checklist. But every once in a while, I think it's good to review it, so that way you don't lose what you have learned, okay? So, this checklist consists of this. Was the action completed? Did the action happen a specific amount of times? Did it happen at a specific time? Last but not least, was it an interrupting action? We went over this in the SIMBA acronym as well, so we're not going to go over that one either in this checklist, but refer to your notes. Hopefully you took notes. If not, rewind the video and take some notes. I know I tell you guys when to use the preterite tense. Now I want to teach you when not to use the preterite tense. These are essentially the uses for the imperfect. I'm not going to go over every single one, but here's just like a little head start. So you won't use the preterite tense when you're talking about physical descriptions or characteristics, right? You won't use the preterite tense when you're talking about weather in regards to it being background information. If it doesn't have a specific time attached to it, then you will not use the preterite for weather. You'll use the imperfect. You will not use the preterite when you're talking about age. We won't use the preterite when we're talking about time, when we're talking about emotions, when we're talking about reoccurring or ongoing events in the past, or what you used to do in the past, things like that. We won't use the preterite then. So now you have when you do use it, and you have when you don't use it. So I'm putting it plain and simple for you guys. Hopefully you guys now have a better understanding of the preterite tense. We still have 2 more videos left in this series. We're going to talk about the trigger words for the preterite. So that way, whenever you see these words, you will know right off the back, like, that's preterite, no questions asked about it. And then we have the irregular preterite verbs. That's going to be the last video. So thank you guys for watching today. If you found this video helpful, please, like I said, give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. Also, comment down below with any practice you want to do or any questions that you may have. The goal for this series is for you to have 0 questions when I finish explaining the preterite versus the imperfect, okay? So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Que Dios me los bendiga.